Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is the second video of my JavaScript slash TypeScript web automation course. So this video will be dedicated to CSS and XPath selectors. So last time we already did some selections and played with Google Chrome browser console. We entered some JavaScript commands to manipulate the web page, and if you remember, we had some selectors, some magical selectors that were kind of identifying the elements on the web page. So this is what we are going to talk about today, and let's go. I'm happy to say that today we are hitting these two topics, so -2 for in one video. This is great. Let's move on. So HTML. If you're familiar with HTML, then nothing new for you. If not, then let me just explain to you that HTML consists of tags like input, some video, some button, some link, whatever, and attributes. So each HTML tag has different attributes, and this is how it looks. Let me show you the real HTML document. There is no magic here. I'll just open this one. So this is my HTML document. It consists of head. Let me close this one. Head, which is kind of stands for header. And it has title home, and it downloads some CSS styles. So this is the title, and we also have the body, head and the body. The body is my website. The body has header, home, has some link, input, button. Yeah, if you've never seen HTML, then let me show you this. This is the web page. So this is what I just showed you. And I opened this HTML file. Oh, sorry about that. I opened this HTML file in web browser. Boom, like this. And this is the website that we have. And here is the HTML code for this website. You see, this is the head, the body. The body is like main content for your website, and here I have the header, this element. Boom, the header. Then I have the content. Content is like something in the middle, and then I have the footer. Footer is something that you have like on the bottom of each page. So header, content, footer. And if you remember, I was talking about HTML, right? Where is it? And each HTML page has tags and attributes. So just remember these two. Tag is like element. Let's open here header. This is tag h1, which stands for header. And it might have some attributes, like attributes called style. Let's call style color, I don't know, yellow. Boom. So this is the tag, and this is the attribute, style color yellow. Okay, so far clear, I hope. Let's edit this in the original page. Let's make it here. Style color yellow. Okay, like this. Boom. Yep, that works after loading. Perfect. Okay. What happens when browser loads your HTML document? So HTML document is just text. This text with all the elements that you have: the header, the content, and the footer. So what happens when browser loads your HTML document? Browser transforms your HTML document into document object model. Wow, this might sound hard for you, but I'll explain it in a moment. So there is nothing complicated here. Okay, let's go to this drawing. So HTML is transformed into DOM tree, document object model tree. So what happens here? This is your HTML document. This is whole document. Your document consists of head and body. Just let's go back here. I'll remind you. So here we have head and body. In head we have title and we have link. So there we go. In head we have title and we have link. So this is like a tree. You see, it goes. This is the parent, its child, and then head has two more children. Okay, and the same goes for body. Body is another child of HTML, of the root. So here we have the body, and body consists of, let me close these, consists of header, content, and footer blocks. Okay, so we have here header, content, and footer. So I think you understand the idea, right? We have a tree. We are building a tree, and this is what DOM stands for, document object model. DOM is like a tree that is built from your HTML. And then we have div1, which is header. Okay, what do we have inside here? Header, and header has h1. h1 is, yeah, basically stands for header. Okay, then we have content. Inside of content we have h1 and form. These are the children of this component. Let's check here. Okay, we have here h1 and form, and then form has its children. I think this is clear, right? And the footer has only one child, p, which stands for paragraph. Yep, that's it. Okay, so understand this. Every time your HTML page is loaded from the backend, browser parses the HTML document and creates DOM tree. Why we need this, you'll understand in a moment. So yeah, let me basically explain why we need to understand this. So we need to automate some actions in browser, right? In order to automate some actions in browser, we need to know which exact element we need to click. We need to understand that, okay, we need to type some text here into this element, and we need to click this search button. And we have it here in our HTML tree, right? This is the input type number. So you see we have numbers here. And we have search button. When we click on search, nothing happens, page just reloads. Okay. When we automate some tests, we need to click on the elements, and we need to find these elements in this tree, in this HTML DOM tree, right? So how this happens? Browser builds the DOM tree. This is our DOM tree. And then we can easily go from like downwards from parent elements to child elements and find the correct element that we need to change. So for example, we will search from here, HTML body, then go down, like this is the content, And from content we understand that we need to find that element in a form, and then we need to find the input, type something into input, then find inside the form the button and click on this button. I know it's not clear. We'll understand it now. So just remember that browser builds some DOM tree, which for human representation looks something like this. Okay, and now we need to understand what are these selectors. So selectors are kind of identifiers of each element on the page. So each element on the page, as I said, has its own tag and attribute. So here we have tag input and we have attribute type number, right? So we can find this element by these attributes and we can change the value of this input. Let's quickly do it. So document query selector, or like this, I already showed you. We can search input and type equals number, like this, and value, boom, 55. So we located this element, input, type number, value 55. What else we can do? We can also set here, let's check what we have in this HTML. So remember, we have body, then body has a child content. So body, then this div, then form, body, div, form. Remember this, body, then div, and then form. Okay, let's do this. Body, div, form. Okay, so we just selected the form. So we are navigating through this tree, DOM tree. Now we selected body. Body is basically all your content on the web page. Body, what was that? I forgot. Div. Okay, then div. So this is the first div. We just selected the first div. If I will tell it div, not div, but let's select this ID content. So there's a special hashtag for IDs, content. So I just selected content. This is what we have in the middle. And now I'm selecting what we have inside of this div with ID content. We have h1, which stands for home, which has home text. Okay, we selected h1, and we have the form element. So this is how we navigate through the DOM tree using selectors. Again, getting back to this diagram, we are saying that please select body tag, then select element with ID content, a child of body, and then inside of content select form. Okay, body content form. So it goes from upside down, body, then down to div content. Hop. Okay, form. And what do we have inside the form? Let's check. Okay, we can actually check here. Inside the form we have a link, input, and button. So 3 elements: link, input, and button. Okay, and we can select each: input, button. Okay, that works. So this was a selector, boom, or like this: body, div, form, button. Okay, how we can easily generate this selector? So we don't know, we are lazy. We are developers, we are lazy, we don't want to select these selectors every time, like look at the whole tree and identify which element we want to click. And I already showed you last time then that, for example, if we want to click on this search button, we can do right click, then copy, then do copy selector, and then paste it here. And you see, this is pretty similar to what we did. So it selects element with ID content. So this is what we have in the middle. Then form, it's for these three, and then we have the button. Okay, and we can click on it. Boom, we just click on the button. Did it work? I'm not sure. Yeah, it worked. Refuse to apply it, style, blah blah blah. Okay, this is fine. Yeah, it's just some styling issue. I'll remove this one. Boom. Okay, button. It clicks on this button, but nothing happens. Okay, and we can do the same with the input. Input, but we don't need to click on the input. We would set the value to 50. Okay, that's it. We went from the top of the tree downwards to its child, Okay. So this is the easiest way how to get selector. By the way, you also have the selector here. Boom, on this panel. If you navigate through the elements, you see it changes. Boom, go up. Yep. All right, so this is the easiest way. Let's see what else do we have here. Copy selector. What's interesting for us for today is copy selector, which stands for CSS selector, and then copy XPath. Copy XPath. Let's try this. For XPath, we have XPath is just another type of selectors. For XPath, we have to do the following. Boom. Just put X here. And XPath always returns an array of elements, so we have to say that, like, get us the first input by this selector. Okay, so what do we have here? Now we just found that we have two different selector types. This is XPath and this is CSS. So they look pretty similar. So this one has this hashtag content, then form, then input, and this one has this ID equals content, then form, then input, and then like first element. I think you are still with me. There is nothing hard here. Remember, just right click, select element, and we have it. Okay, another option is using some extensions, external extensions. Just go to Google and search for CrowPath extension, and let's see how this works. Okay, so I'm selecting here some element. Let's say this button, right? And this extension gives me the possible selectors. So it gives me this XPath. Let's try whether this one works. Dollar boom XPath. Search. Okay, I have to put it in double quotes because I have single quotes here. Boom. Yep, it returned the button. Okay, all right, so it found the button. Yeah, this is great. Then it gives us CSS selector, which is not nice. I don't know. I don't like, and this is not a great practice to have such big selectors. Yeah, we had CSS selector, you see? This is CSS selector, and we have a really tiny CSS selector, content form input. Wow, much more readable than this one. This is crazy. And we have other selectors here as well. Okay, let's try another element. Let's try choosing the footer, for example, and see how this footer paragraph. All right. So this is this component. Okay, XPath. Let's try to copy XPath. $x. Oh, oops. Okay, and yeah. Oh, yeah, it selected the right element. Let's check like this. Inner text. Oh, okay, I remember. We have to select the first element in XPath. Footer content goes here. Yeah, this is our element. Okay, it selected this one correctly, but this CSS selector is not great. Yeah, but still, this is just another option, installing this CrowPath extension and using it to get to automatically get the selectors. So we learned first way, just click here. Oh, actually there are two ways: CSS selector and XPath selector. And then use this extension, and then there's actually one more extension which I like better, called Selectors Hub. Okay, let's check how this Selectors Hub works. So here we have the inspect button. Let's click on this input. Okay. Unfortunately, I cannot zoom in this extension, but it says input type number. Okay, yeah, this is what we want. This is XPath. And CSS input type number. So if you remember what CrowPath extension generated for CSS, then this one is way much better. We just covered the possible options how to generate selectors automatically. So my choice is almost always Chrome, Elements, and Copy, because it's easier, it's installed on all the browser, you don't have to open any extensions. Yeah, so I usually go with this one. All right, so now let's get a more detailed view on selectors, specifically on CSS selectors. So first of all, let's check how we can select an element by ID. ID is just something. Let's go to ID. Let's set some ID for this search or for this input. So ID is just another attribute. ID, let's call it number input. So this is unique ID for the element. ID should be unique for each element on the page. So if you have multiple inputs like this, you would have to call them differently. You see, it complains like this: input 1, input 2. All right, saving this page, and now I want to select this input by ID. Let's do it. Chrome DevTools, console, refreshing the page. Now we have two inputs. I just added a second one. Okay, and we are working with CSS selectors. So hashtag, whoa, hashtag number input 1 selects first one, number input 2 selects second one. So this is how to select by ID. This is the best way to find elements on the page. If element has an ID, go with ID. Right, the second option is finding elements by tags. We already did that, so we have to find inputs. Let's find all inputs. If you remember, just put $2 here. So we just found two inputs: input number 1, input number 2. And we can traverse the tree, so we can find, let's say, from the top, body, this is a tag, then div, and the form. So we can kind of traverse the tree from top to the bottom and find the element. Okay, then another way to select an element is by class. Let's go to IDE and let's add some class input primary input primary here and input secondary here. All right, so these are classes. Classes are just another attributes that elements have. All right, going here to select an element by attribute. Okay, refreshing the page. To select element by attribute, sorry, by class, just hit the dot, type the dot, and then input primary. Boom, we found this element. And input secondary, same. So this is another way of finding the elements. Okay, I just lost my presentation. Come on. Okay, then another way is by tag. We already did that. Like we wrote body, div, form, input, right? This is selecting by tag. Then selecting by any attribute. For example, type number. Okay, let's say we have two inputs here. One is type number, another type, what do we have here? Telephone. Let's say date. Okay, one input is date, is for date, another input is for number. Going back to the Chrome, reloading the page. Okay, CSS selector, selecting by type input, and here we are adding additional type attribute. And what was the value? Number. Okay, we just selected this one, number, and we can go with the date. So here we can put any attribute, anything we want, and select by attribute. All right, what else do we have? Okay, data ID. Data ID or data test ID are similar to the normal IDs, but these are created specifically for auto tests. So we can go here and add some data ID here, number input 2, data ID, let's say. Okay, and this one would be data ID, number input 1, data ID. Okay, that works. And now going here, what do we want to select? We want to select input by data ID, which equals number 1, this is this one on the left, or number 2, this one on the right. So data ID is like another ID that we can identify the elements by. All right, so this was pretty easy, simple. Now let's move to XPath selectors. So in XPath we can do the same. We can select elements by tag, by attribute, by everything that we have here in CSS. All right, let's try to do this. For XPath again, $X. And now let's say we have the body. How do we select these XPaths? XPath, boom, body. Execute string body is not valid, XPath expression. If I only remember, okay, this one. So this is the root of the element of the root of the DOM tree. Then we're going down to body, then we are going down to some div. Okay, we have 3 divs, header, content, and footer. That's correct. And then let's head to the one with the form. Okay, we have the form and we have the input. Okay, we have 2 inputs, right? These 2. Okay, so it looks pretty similar to selecting by tag in CSS. Not much difference here. All right, hitting this one. Okay, and actually we can select like which button we want, this one or this one, first or second. All right, XPath again, XPath by attribute. Let's do something interesting here. Input, let's actually select from here, inspect, then copy XPath, boom, X ID number. Okay, I'll put it in single quotes. Okay, ID number. Okay, we just selected by ID. Okay, that works. Let's select let's say this one, so we can put any attribute here. What attributes do we have? Data ID, as far as I remember. Data ID, yeah, we have data ID. Okay, reminding you quickly, so we have this input that has data ID and other attributes, so we can select by any of these. We can select by class, easy. Boom, class, input primary, boom, selected. And then what else? By tag selected, by attribute selected, by data ID selected. Okay, that should be it. Now just bear with me, it's getting harder. These two were pretty simple. Now we are moving forward to more complex ones. So in CSS, if you remember, we can go, actually in DOM tree, we can go from top of the tree to the bottom, to the children. And in CSS we have three types of selectors. I would say three types of relations. First one EF, then second one EF like this, and yeah, I'm gonna explain everything. E plus F. Okay, so what does it mean? Let me show some examples here. EF, let's say body form. So this is our selector. Forget about these two for now. EF body form. This is element 1, element 2. Or let me leave it here. Body form. So first we select the body selector, and then we select the form from the body, and it goes and searches all the elements until it finds the form, and it goes to all the descendants, all the children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and all the way down to the bottom of the tree. So this is relation number 1. If you didn't understand it, now you'll get it. Okay, this is selection number 2. So how we call it? Body div form. Okay, this is another selector, and this one is searching by children. So this one is body. Okay, body. Then this symbol says that search only children, don't go all the way. Like here with this selector body and form, it went to the grandchild of body. So body is the parent, this is the child, and this is the grandchild. So if we don't have any symbol here, it goes all the way down until it finds the form. And in this case, we have the body and we are saying search children of body, and children of body are divs. These three. Body has 3 children. And then we are saying inside of the div, search for a form. And it gets these children and then starts searching only children of these divs. Only the children. So if we would write the following selector, we would find no element, because this one says that direct children, and here the form is actually kind of grandchild of body, right? So this is not the direct child, so this one wouldn't work. Can I cross it somehow? I don't know. Anyway, I'll delete it. Okay, and the third type is this one with the plus. Okay, so remember, this one all the descendants, this one all only direct children, and this one is siblings. Siblings like brother, sister. So if we are selecting some, let's say H1 form, let's make it large. H1 form, then first it will select, it will find the H1, it will find it here and here, these 2 elements, and then it will find the closest sibling. So the closest sibling under H1 is form, so it will locate this form. Let me show you in HTML. So we have this form, so we have this element, and the selector was H1 form with the plus. Okay, with the plus stands for siblings, and the next sibling is form. So we located the H1 with this selector, and then we are locating the form. So these are 3 kind of relations between selectors, depending on which symbol we put in between. Yeah, sorry, by the way, here I have to put plus. Okay, and I put it all into slides. So EF, like element and second element, F element, descendant of an E element. Okay, descendant is like a child and grandchild and grandchild and all the way down the tree. And then second type is direct child of element, and third type is immediately preceded by an E element, so meaning the next closest sibling, brother or sister. Okay, I know it's getting more complicated. I know I already showed you how to automate these, how to automatically get these selectors, but still you have to understand what these selectors mean, right? If you copy some selector, it doesn't work, or it breaks, or it changes. You have to understand what it means. So I'm just explaining you what you will have from these automatic generations. All right, next is selectors first child, last child, nth child, and last child. Okay, let's try to play with these. I'm gonna copy over, let's say, many of such buttons, and we will locate the form. Form inputs. We'll locate the form and then go through its children. All right. Or let's create another form. Yeah, it actually doesn't matter, but okay, I will create another one down here. Okay, that will have a lot of search buttons. Search 1, search 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, where's our page? Boom. Okay, we have this form with the buttons. That's cool. Opening Chrome DevTools. What did we want to check? Okay, the children. First, last, and last child. All right. So let's locate the form. To locate the form, we have an ID. ID is hashtag. What was that? Form inputs. So we just located this form. That's cool. And now we want first. What was that? First child, last child. All right. First child. Form inputs first child returns null. That's interesting. Nth child. Yeah, I was always using the nth child. No. Button. Wow, I'm kind of, I don't know why it doesn't work. Yeah, but this is why we have ChatGPT. I'm gonna do this live because yeah, nobody's perfect. All right, what do we have here? I have HTML and what? Yeah, I'm just going to show it live. How I search, boom. Sorry. Boom. What this thing will tell us. Nth child. All right. Okay. We have to specify that we want this to be a button. Okay, yeah. So this is the first button. Yeah, perfect. This works. First button, then second button, and so on. Okay, and let's try with the first child. Okay, it finds the first one, this one, then last. Okay, the last one here. Great. And nth last child, this will find it from the back. 1, 2, 3. So the order changes and it calculates the elements from the back. For example, if you need to get the last one. Boom, perfect. Or the second last. Okay, these worked. And you see, like, it's not a problem. If you don't understand something, just go to ChatGPT, it will help you. All right, CSS selectors. Woof, that was hard. Okay, now a bit more harder. Now we already played with selecting elements by attributes, but here are a few more complex selectors. So if you remember, we had some attribute. What was that? Content, form ID. What was that? Data ID. Let's copy this data ID. Boom, data ID, like this. Okay, we have this element. We have this selector. And what we can do here is, let's say we want to select like by partial text. So this is not exact match. So if we don't have any symbols here, then this is exact match, and we see there are no elements found. And if we want to find just any element like this, let's find all of them. Boom. So we just found 2 elements. It's like if you ever worked with SQL, then this is like, and then anything in between. Like we can have input. Boom, you see, it found Boom, like this doesn't find. Okay, then we have two more options, and these two more options are this tilde, how you call this symbol, I don't remember. And this symbol means that we have to search from the start, from the beginning. So the beginning of this attribute value is number input number, come on, input 2, input secondary, right, first one, great. Okay, and we can search from the back like this. We have to put dollar here, ID. So this searches from the back, you remember, right? We have this value, number input, we have this value, number input 1 data ID, and we can search by different patterns. Oh, this is the right word, patterns. So this pattern searches by the end of the string, then number by the beginning of the string, and this asterisk by anything what's in the middle or in the beginning, in the end, doesn't matter. And we have to match the case, by the way. Input. Okay, that's enough playing. I know this is hard. It's been already, I don't know how much time since we started recording this. So I prepared just one of my favorite memes in automation. It's me like always trying to automate things instead of doing them manually, and spending way more time trying to automate things and play around with automation than to just actually doing the thing manually and forgetting about it. Yeah, but this is fun. All right, taking a deep breath, and we continue working with selectors. This is really important topic. Like no matter which language you'll be coding in, no matter which framework will come tomorrow, like Cypress, Playwright, Selenium, it doesn't matter. It's always the same. HTML, CSS, tags, attributes, CSS, XPath selectors, nothing changes and nothing will change. So this will always be the same. All right, let's go to XPath. XPath, yeah, we can select by exact child. I already prepared something. ID header form button. Okay, dollar. ID header form button. Why? Oh, in header we don't have a form. All right, content. Okay, in content we have buttons. Okay, so we found many buttons, and this form content button. Okay, and let's try to find it like this. Yeah, so there is, if you still remember what I showed you here, can we get this back? So this one searches by all the children, grandchildren, grandchildren. This one searches by exact direct children, like body, then div, then form. Well, and this one searches the siblings like h1, its sibling is form. And we have similar relations in XPath. So here we have, if you put this symbol, okay, let me do it this way. If you put slashes here, one slash here, this means that this is the direct child. So one level down, direct child. And if we do the same, but Hope I spell it correctly. All descendants. You see the difference? 2 slashes. 2 slashes meaning all descendants. This is exact child, exact child. And this is probably what I have on the slides. Yep, descendant, yep, exactly. And go always practice, always practice. So button, if we go to exact child of this element, we don't have a button, right? If we say like, look through all your children, grandchildren, all the way down, boom, it finds the buttons. All right. And if we want to search like the exactly go one level down, one level down, one level down, then we can put 1 slash, but that means that we have to put the like tags for each level. Okay, moving on. What do we have? Yeah, and this is for the sibling. Sibling meaning brother or sister. Let me put it also here. Boom. Following sibling, button 1. Okay, let's try this one. Do we have some siblings here? Let's say, yeah, we have this button. We have this button, and now number input. Let's find some element, some random element. Some, I don't know. What do we have here? Inner text, footer, input primary, okay, input primary. And if we change this to, come on, okay, so we have the input, let's select something. I don't know, I want to select something by ID. Yeah, sorry, I'm stuck. I just want to make this beautiful. X, single quote. Okay, we have a button, number input, and now we want its siblings. Number, now we do the following sibling. Button. Let's do it this way. Following sibling, button. Yeah, okay. So first we located this element. This element, this date. This is number input 1, the ID. And now we found the following sibling button. So the following button, you remember this. Number input 1, let's check in HTML here. Number input 1, this is our input. And now we are saying find following sibling, which has the tag button. Boom. And 1 stands for like the first sibling, first following sibling. Yep, and that's it. Pretty similar to what we had in CSS, but I feel like CSS is, I don't know, easier. H1 plus form, easier to read. Yeah, but XPath provides more functions, more abilities to search for elements. Alrighty, moving on. Oof. There is something that we haven't covered in CSS, is selecting elements by text. And you know why? Because CSS selectors don't support selecting elements by text. So life is hard, I know. Okay, double quotes. I hate this when it's always you have to, like if you have single quotes here, then you have to put double quotes here, close it with double quotes. And if it's another way around, then you have to like put double quotes here and then single quotes here, and it will work. All right, so what do we have here? which selector do we have? We have button, which contains text. Okay, there is some function called contains. Contains meaning like in SQL. Contains text ch. So we have, yeah, and let's calculate how many buttons we have. 7 buttons, right? All the search buttons, it just calculated. Let's say we want to calculate a links that contain text about. One link, this link. All right, so we can search by containing text. This is great. We don't have such ability in CSS selectors, so like to XPath selectors. Okay, what else do we have? We can do the same for, come on, I told you I hate these quotes. Okay, we can do the same for the href for any attribute. Href, we are saying that find a link that contains href. Href stands for a link also. That contains link to Ilarion Halushka blog or GitHub.io, right? And we have such links, and we can do the same. What do we have? Number data ID or something. Button contains data. What was that attribute? Data ID. Okay, this is the attribute. Okay, it was not it was an input. Okay. Just found the input that contains data ID number. Input that contains data ID number. Okay. What else do we have here? Button starts with. Starts with is similar. Okay, but still, let's play. I'm always telling you, play with everything. Try it out like this. Boom. Double quotes. No. Button, just read with me. Button starts with text, search, or just S, E. Let's find link. Starts with text, starts with about. About, we have one link. Okay, what else do we have here? This is exact match, so this will find all the elements on the page which have this text. So no matter which tag it has, it will find this text. Okay, search, let's say about, doesn't matter. Whatever text you put here, it will find any type of element. Content goes here. So this exact match. Right, exact match, and then whoa, one of the most important ones for those who stayed till this moment, who stayed with me. Let's select. This is also one of the most important differences why XPath is better. So first one was, what was the first one? Yeah, it has more functions, and XPath can search elements in the DOM tree by text. So CSS cannot do this by text. And second is, okay, double quotes. Second is we can go, okay, let's say we just located this element. Text about. Let's check what we have on this tree. Okay, so this is the link that we have. This is the link. And let's say I was telling you that we are searching elements by going down the tree. So from the top we are going down, and searching elements always down. So first we have to specify the parent and then the child, and here how it's done here: body parent of div. Div is parent of form. Here the same, h1 is parent of, no, this one is sibling actually. So we always go from top to bottom, from top to bottom. And there is no way to first locate this element and then go up to the form, then go to the div. So there is no way to find the parent element. If we located the button by ID, we cannot go up the tree and understand and get the parent. All right, but in XPath it's actually possible. So let's say we located this element which is about, this link with text about. This is the link, and this link has form, has parent form. In CSS we cannot get this form. No way we can get this form. By like we can get this form, but I mean we cannot first get this element and then go up the tree to get this form. But in CSS we can do this like this. Okay, I just went up, one up. So first I located, let me show it here on diagram. Okay, deleting this. Boom. Okay, so first we located element with text about, which is actually not represented on this diagram. Because it's A. A is another child on this form. All right, so first we located this about, right? This is this element. First we located this about, and then these two dots mean that we are going up. We are going up to the form. So first we located this about, and then we are going two dots. Here two dots mean that we are going up, and we are getting this form. If we will add two more dots here, oh sorry, we are getting up to div content, which is two dots, two more. So first, again, we are locating this element with text about. Then we have two dots here. This means we are going one level up. We are getting the parent of this element. And then we have two more dots here. We are right now here, and two more dots mean that we go one up to this one. And if we add again /2 dots, we got to the body. Again, located this element, two dots, parent, two dots, parent, two more dots, parent of the element. So we are going up, and look what we can do. So let's say we located this element, and now we went all the way up, and now guess what? We can go down. We can actually go down. Can do it like this. Now we have to specify the exact ID. All right, div, then let's say what we had there, form. Yeah, two forms. So we just went up and then down. Boom. Let me replace it here. Oof. Again, located about, this one, two dots went up, two more dots went up, two more dots went up, and now from this point we are locating all the divs, children here, and now from these divs we are locating the form So you see, we went like this, boom, up, up. Oh, come on, my mouse. Up, and then from this moment, we are here. We are here. We are going down. So we can, with XPath, we can go up and down, up and down, up and down. So this is how XPath is better. It gives you more abilities. So this is great. So, and this is one of the most important, like, I don't know, mostly asked interview questions on QA automation interviews. Like, what's the difference between CSS and XPath selectors? Which ones are better? So here is my answer. The difference is firstly in functionality. So with XPath, you can search by text. In CSS, you cannot do that. Then, secondly, in XPath, you can do the tree traversing up and down. That's what I show you with 2 dots, right? 2 dots means we are going up. In CSS, you cannot do this. No way you can do this. Then, yeah, and this is what I wrote. CSS can only traverse down. And then one more thing, as I told you before, CSS is really, I don't know, user-friendly, easier to read. So I prefer using CSS when it's possible. And it's always great to use like some simple selector by ID or some by ID or class or data ID, than having to traverse the tree and have such complex selectors like this one. So this is a really complex one. Okay, I have one more tip for you. Yeah, I already told this, like prefer using ID, data ID, or data test ID, or name attribute. So yeah, I would say prefer using stable selectors. Stable selectors meaning they are not changing quite often. And such selectors are ID, name, data ID. Other selectors change more often, like classes. Developers usually change classes when they change the styles of the page, and you don't want to rely on some style change and all your auto tests will break. Some randomly generated attributes are also not a great way to rely on, like writing selectors which are like, I don't know, sorry, div inside of div, inside of form, inside of another form, then input is also not great. So having a really nested selector is not a great practice. Like wherever, like CSS, XPath, wherever you choose, like is not a great selector. It's not reliable, it's not stable. So if something changes and developer, like let's say, removes this div, then you have to rewrite all your selectors. Your tests would fail. It's always good to have some ID or data ID, like we have here in this example HTML. Data ID, ID. Yeah, I know it kind of looks messy, but it's much better to have these attributes, additional attributes. All right, what else do we have for today? Yeah, that's it. That's it for this lecture. I'm pretty tired. It's the second video for today. I'm sure you are also tired, because I always know that it's much harder to watch some videos and try to understand what's going on when the topic is new for you, than for me just sit and explain you the basic things that I've been working with like since forever. Yeah, so if you stayed till this moment, congrats. Then yeah, I hope you learned a lot on this lecture, and happy that we covered two, I would say, almost most important topics when it comes to web automation. All right, next time we will either review the Playwright architecture, or maybe we'll install Playwright, and then yeah, we'll see. one of these three will be the next one, or maybe I'll combine them. All right, it was nice talking to you, and the homework for this lecture is, as always, repeat after me and play. Install those extensions, Selector Hub, CrowPath, go to some website, take this HTML, I'll attach it to the description below. Play with this HTML, try to select the elements, try to click on them. Again, understand that it's always like a tree. You are going from top to bottom to the children, selecting elements. Like in XPath you can go up. So there is nothing hard. You just, if you play with it, if you see it and play a couple of hours, just try something, it doesn't work. So best experience comes from failures. If you fail to locate some element, no extension works, you just don't understand how to get some element selector, then this is the best experience. So I suggest you to go to some website and try to locate the elements there. Yep. So again, it was nice having you watch my video, and comment, like, share, subscribe. I always answer all the comments. So yep, thank you and see you in the next one.